You have found the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video, the Wednesday evening edition, here on the 18th day of November. Hard to believe we only have 11 more days left in the month. The days are getting shorter. We're seeing more frequent bouts of cold weather, although this still is not a very cold pattern in the larger sense. Let's start out this evening with a review of today's numbers. At the airport today, we did crack 40, got up to 41 this afternoon, and that is about 7 degrees cooler than the average for this date. Our average high is 48. Our average low is 33. The records today kind of interesting. Back in 1958, we established the record high of 72, and then a year later, a record low of 8 degrees on this date in 1959. It was 6 years ago that we had a real cold day, and we established the coldest high temperature on record for today's date. It was only 18. That was it 6 years ago, back in 2014, the beginning of a pretty cold winter. 2014, 2015, really our last cold winter across the area was 2014, 2015. We had back-to-back pretty cold ones, 13, 14, 14, 15. Ever since then, our winters have been warmer than the average. Not a whole lot going on across the nation this evening, although it is pretty stormy in the western U.S., with some showers of both rain and snow from central California up through the Great Basin into the Pacific Northwest as well. Closer to home, we have some wind advisories out for western New York, but also northern Ohio, northwest Ohio into Indiana. The wind tomorrow is not going to be in the same league as the strong, even damaging winds that we had on Sunday, but it's still going to be a story tomorrow, and it's going to be noticeable as we get into the afternoon especially. I think we could see gusts of 35, 40 or so, whereas off to our west towards I-71, Mansfield, Sandusky, Lima, Toledo, those gusts could top 45 or even 50 or so before the afternoon and evening is through. Actually, it's going to stay pretty blustery into the evening hours tomorrow. Well after sunset, the wind will still be an issue. Now, clouds are going to thicken back up on Friday after a veil of high clouds tomorrow. It turns out to be a fairly overcast afternoon, I think, on Friday, although those will be unproductive clouds. Same idea Saturday. It's going to turn out to be a pretty cloudy day, I think, on Saturday. But no precipitation during the daylight hours on Saturday. With the beginnings of our next weather maker, you can see out here Saturday morning. That's going to start to track our way, I think, by Saturday night and into Sunday morning. In fact, I'm going to take a peek here on the European model depiction of things by the end of the weekend. The isobars are plotted up here, the lines of equal pressure. Those are the white lines. A warm front may bring us a little bit of rain Sunday morning. The timing of rain Sunday is actually a little bit tricky. I could see where we have a little rain first thing in the morning, and then the bulk of the rest of the rain waits until late in the day. There may be a dry interval for several hours during midday and afternoon on Sunday. But then a cold front approaches. I think showers will become pretty likely towards Sunday evening and overnight, and some of those showers may linger into first thing Monday morning. That front will knock our temperatures out of the 50s and back into the 40s for the first half of next week. Going up to the jet stream level here in the run-up to Thanksgiving. First disturbance right there. This little dip in the jet stream right here is what's going to provide the precipitation and the cooler temperatures during the first stages of next week. And then perhaps a more pronounced little trough will push through the Midwest right before Thanksgiving. This is next Wednesday, the 25th. This will probably bring us some rain before the holiday on Wednesday. Optimistic at this point, based on the model consensus, that we'll get most of this rain out of the way in time for Thanksgiving, although that, confidence may be increasing, but it's still not great. We're, after all, 8 days out from the holiday. But by Thanksgiving, pretty strong jet stream across the southern tier of the U.S., big trough out here in the west, so it stays pretty unsettled out of the western U.S., but in the east, with this kind of a pattern, you wouldn't expect a whole lot of cold weather, and I still think that Thanksgiving itself will be fairly mild, although nothing all that crazy in terms of warmth. It won't be anything like back in 1941. Our warmest Thanksgiving since 1930 was in 1941. The high was 68, the coldest high temperature on Thanksgiving, a more recent record back in 2013. I mentioned those cold winters, 13, 14, 14, 15. Well, they also had some pretty cold weather at times in the month of November. Our wettest overall Thanksgiving since 1930, also a fairly recent record back in 2010. 10 years ago, we had a wet Thanksgiving, and the snowiest Thanksgiving, also a fairly recent record. We've had some pretty eventful Thanksgivings of late. My statistic disappeared, though, back in, it was 2005, right? That we had a few inches worth of snow on the holiday. So I'm not expecting any sort of extremes like that, and no snow this Thanksgiving, but we'll fine-tune the Thanksgiving 2020 forecast, of course, in the coming days on the Storm Tracker 21 app, on Weather for Weather Geeks, and on 21 News at 6 and 11. In the meantime, thank you as always for watching this video, and I'll see you back here for more geeky stuff on Thursday.